Hey, what's going on, guys? In a past video, I counted down my top 5 picks of HG kits from the Build Fighters line. In today's video, we're going to talk about some top picks from the Build Fighters Try line. Now, in the Build Fighters line, the original series, there was only 17 kits to choose from in the HG line there, so we didn't necessarily have a whole lot to choose from. The whole concept of Build Fighters was kind of just getting started, although of course we did have the original Build series years before that. This was kind of Bandai's first kind of real go since then, making an attempt at the concept of Build Fighters, which was making altered custom versions of mobile suit designs that they basically already had for the most part. Out of those 17, I gave you guys my top 5. For the Build Fighters Try series, there's 40 HGs, so a lot more HGs, and Bandai really stepped it up and I would say kind of perfected in a way, although of course not all of the kits are perfect. There's a lot of really great kits in the Build Fighters Try line, so you can tell that Build Fighters was very successful and Bandai did a really good job on the Build Fighters Try series of HG kits. So there's a lot of really good ones, so I'm going to give you guys my top 10 and then we'll talk about a few more extras there at the end as well. But in no particular order, starting off here with the Try Burning Gundam. Now we had also the Build Burning Gundam and the Kamiki Burning Gundam, all three of them fantastic. I just went for the Try Burning Gundam because I think it was kind of like a happy medium. It's the middle one between the other two. I think this kit is amazing for a number of reasons. Number one, just the build is super fun. The articulation is amazing, so if you wanted a kit that can literally do basically any pose, it can do that. It's really good, especially for a mobile suit which is meant to be for hand-to-hand combat and doing all sorts of martial arts. It's just a design, and all three of these work really well for that. And as we've just seen very recently with the Shin Burning Gundam as well, that continues to be the case with this line of kits. The effect parts are awesome. This was one of the many kits in the line that really made a great use of effect parts. So we had the clear blue parts that you could swap out for the fire clear orange parts on there. Was just a really interesting and cool, very unique concept for this kit. Plus the additional effect parts that you have in there. It's just a really cool kit, a lot of fun. Next one is another design that I absolutely love for a number of different reasons. We have the Amazing Red Warrior. This one actually is based off of the Perfect Gundam 3 Red Warrior, so not a totally original design, but it is in this case, and this was the first time that we really had it in kit form here like this. And then we did also get the Master Grade, which I would also highly recommend. It's a fantastic Master Grade as well, but the HG, number one, just because of its weapon options. That's kind of the main thing with this one. It just has a ton of weapon options in there. The Amazing Black Warrior is another option that you could go for that I think has even more weapon options than that. But the great thing about this is that rather than with the Try Burning Gundam where we had all these crazy effect parts, with this one we have all of these different weapons and different weapon options that you can do by combining them in different ways. The base kit itself is also just really good. Even without all the other weapons, it's a kind of variant sort of version, sort of based on the RX-78-2. But a much more kind of aggressive looking design there. It's helped out a lot by the color scheme, of course. And then with these big boosters on the shoulders, the very pointy V-fin that it has on it, just a really cool design. And then plus all those different weapons and everything you get in there, it just makes it a really fun kit. This next one here, probably one of my personal top favorites of the bunch, is actually the Transient Gundam. I really loved this Gundam. That all white color scheme with the clear blue parts looks really cool. It's a really sort of very pointy, edgy design, but it's really tastefully done. And this one, again, like with the past two, just the base kit itself is really good. I think that's probably what helps out a lot of these kits that we're gonna have on the list, is that the kit that they're based off of is just a good solid kit to start from, so that definitely helps. This one, in this case, yeah, just the base kit on its own, we have fantastic articulation with that. It's really fun, simple, easy to pose. This one has a really cool weapon as well. It doesn't have, like we've seen with the other two, where it has a ton of effect parts or a ton of weapons or anything. It just kind of has its one main weapon, but it has multiple uses that it can do with that weapon, which is also cool. And it's a quite unique weapon. It's especially at that time, we've seen a number of different, more sort of spear type of weapons since then, I feel like, but especially at that time, we didn't necessarily have a whole lot of Gundam model kits that had a weapon quite like this, like the spear with the clear effect part on the end of it. So it was definitely unique and, again, a lot of fun. Okay, next one. I would wager probably one of the best-selling kits from this series, although I'm not too sure on the numbers, but I would have to imagine, just because I'm sure a lot of people bought multiples of this kit, is the EZ-SR. And for a good reason, that, again, it comes with a lot of stuff in there. And basically, instead of effect parts or weapons parts in this one, one, you actually do get a number of different weapons parts, but what you get is options for building either one of 3 different variants in the box. So this is what I mean, that I'm sure this kit sold really well, because I'm sure a lot of people bought 2 or 3 of this kit in order to make the different variants that you can make with it. So it's another really interesting concept that Bandai was doing with this one, being able to make multiple different mobile suits just from what you have in the box. And it's not just like a simple, you know, the shoulder parts are different on one of the variants. They're quite like different between the 3, and having all the parts to make all 3 in there is awesome. The downside is it leaves you with a lot of parts that you're not going to end up using ultimately, but in retrospect, I think it really would have been cool to sell this as a 3 set. I'm sure many people would have bought it, but on the other hand, you know, from Bandai's like business mindset, I can understand why sell one big kit when they can sell 3 little kits. And, you know, I'm sure the profit margin anyway, they're going to make more money off selling. If someone really wants all 3 variants, they're going to make more money from selling 3 copies of this one HG rather than one big HG. Anyway, so I understand the reasoning behind that. Again, though, at the end of the day, the options in there are really awesome. And any of the 3 variants, I think it's not one of those things where you have 3 different variants, like one looks really cool, the one's kind of okay, and one's kind of meh. They all look really cool, I think. So it's definitely a good incentive to buy multiples of that kit. Next one here is the Lightning Zeta. Now, I put this here instead of the Lightning Gundam, the original Lightning Gundam. I just kind of, personally, I think probably the Lightning Zeta is probably the better kit of the 2, but if you guys have a different opinion, of course, you can let me know in the comment section. But between the 2, I think the Lightning Zeta did a really awesome job of redesigning the Zeta Gundam to make it look different and, you know, very unique. It looks like its own totally separate Gundam, but of course still maintaining a lot of the same, you know, features that we generally associate with the Zeta Gundam as well, which we have with like a lot of these designs, but this is one that I feel like does stick pretty close to the original Gundam in that if you didn't know Gundam designs that well necessarily, if you were looking at the Lightning Zeta Gundam, I wouldn't blame you for just immediately assuming that, oh, that's the Zeta Gundam, I saw it in Zeta. You wouldn't immediately recognize that it's a different Gundam, but there is quite a lot of different parts in there, and obviously it is different if you look at it in more detail, and that's what I really like about this one, is that a lot of the changes and new aspects of the design for this particular kit, in my opinion, this is like a better, more cool redesign of the Zeta Gundam, if that makes sense. I definitely prefer this design over just like the original Zeta. And while this one doesn't necessarily have like a big gimmick like we've seen with the past ones, like effect parts or tons of weapons or tons of options in there, this one is just a good solid HG kit. And especially if you're the kind of person that really just prefers UC designs and like the HGUC kits, maybe you don't like a lot of the Build Fighters, Build Divers redesigns and stuff, this is one that I think you can enjoy, even if you're not super into Build Fighters and Build Divers, because it's basically just a UC kit. Up next then, and very similar in concept to the Lightning Zeta, here we have the Mega Shiki, another redesign of a Zeta Air mobile suit, redesigned based off of the Shiki here, of course, but now in purple. So of course the color scheme, new color scheme here for this is awesome. And I guess while the mobile suit design is more purplish, the kit is actually kind of a little bit more bluish. It has like a purple tint to it, but it's not super purple. If you were like, I don't want to build a purple Gundam, it's not that purple. Anyway, the color scheme is awesome on it, and again, the redesign on this one is really, really cool, based off of the Shiki Revive, which is a fantastic kit in its own right, and this one also has the cool new feature of the Mega Flyer backpack, which just is this big, massive backpack that can act as like a separate unit, or you can just have it there on the backpack, which I think is probably the better way to go with this, to be honest. But that big, massive backpack just kind of really helps the intimidation factor, the look of this Gundam. Not only that, but the fact that it has a beam katana is also really cool. The weaponry that it has, the beam rifle is just kind of like your standard Zeta style beam rifle. It's nothing really that special, but the beam katana was really cool. And if you just wanted just like a really awesome looking Gundam design that is just going to look good no matter how you have it, in just like a standing pose or any kind of like pose, again, like with the other ones that we had on this list, the posing and the articulation of this kit is really fantastic. Like I said, it's based on the Shiki Revive. It's a really great kit. So this kit is just one that's going to look good no matter what you do with it, and even if you don't do anything special to it, even if you don't do any like panel lining or top coat on it, it's just going to look really, really good straight out of the box. Up next then, going back to the very beginning of the Build Fighters Try line, is the R-Gyagya. This is another one that I think just has a lot going for it. It's got Gatling guns, it's got beam effects on the shields, it's got beam swords, it's got all these different things that you can do with the shields attached onto the shoulders, and all these different beam effects. So it's kind of just got a lot of stuff going on without looking so like overloaded. I think, having a lot of stuff going on with the kit, could be a good or a bad thing. It could make the kit just look kind of overcrowded and ugly and, just like a mess basically, but it doesn't do that. I mean, I'm sure you could load it, if you like load it up with everything, you could make it look pretty messy maybe, I guess. But this is also interestingly another example of where we got the variant kit before we actually got the kit that it was based off of. It was like years later, which by the way, I'm still waiting on an HG Kapul kit to come out based off of the Momo Kapul from Build Divers, but we'll get back to that. But anyway, just super cool design and color scheme with this. The molded gold accents. I know people have their different opinions about whether you like Bandai's molded gold color or not. In this case, it's used as just like an accent color, and I think it works perfectly well here with the gray. To be honest, I almost wish that they would have gone with like a molded silver instead of gray. I think just would have made sense just for like the kind of knight's armor aesthetic that they have for this design. But I think the gray and actually multiple tones of gray do work really well for the color scheme here for this one, and that gold accent is pretty nice on it. I think so, but let me know your thoughts. Up next then, the Denial Gundam. Now this one I kind of considered whether to put on this list or not, because honestly, basically take everything that I said about the Try Burning Gundam and apply it to the Denial Gundam as well, because it's just a really awesome design, a lot of fun to pose, being a martial arts based mobile suit here with this one as well, and it's got a ton of really cool effect parts on it, clear effect parts with this that you can use both on the kit and like effect parts. They're going to be on the kit in either way, but you have like the hair effect parts and effect parts that attach onto the backpack for like the big like butterfly kind of design, and then you have like the kicking and punching effect parts that you have on there as well. So again, a super cool design. This one also has a really cool color scheme, I think, and if I remember correctly, it's a completely original Gundam, so it's one of the few in the series that is a completely original kit, I should say, and it's not based on any other kits, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, we were just talking about the Mega Shiki, for example. It's based off a fantastic kit, and a lot of these on the list actually, so they don't suffer being based on an older kit. But this one being a completely original kit is also really nice. Okay, next up, one that I don't really particularly like the design of that much, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention this one here. It's the Gundam Tryon 3. It's not to my personal taste, but I think the kit is impressive for a number of different reasons. Number one, it introduced this like super robot aesthetic to what is already kind of very super robot kind of series, just with the whole concept of the series anyway. But I think it was some really great fan service with this design. And also one of the things that really impresses me too is that the Gundam, for the transformation of the Double Zeta Gundam, it breaks down into 3 separate little animal robots that you have, like the lion, the eagle, and the manta ray. So the Zeta Gundam, the Double Zeta Gundam, breaks down into those parts, just its original transformation, but it was kind of cool how they made it so that they actually transform now into these different animals. So again, a lot of fan service to other like different types of mecha series other than Gundam, which was really cool to have included with this design. It's one that I think would have made for a pretty incredible master grade if Bandai were to have made a master grade of this based off the Double Zeta for Ka. I don't think that that's ever going to happen now. At this point, the time window, if they were going to make that, is long since passed, unfortunately. And again, it's not something that I think I would have personally been like super excited about, but I'm sure there would be a lot of people who would be, absolutely crazy for that. So it would have been cool anyway. But all right, last up here for the top 10 is the Hi-Mach. This is another one that it's not a design for everyone, I feel like, but this is one I just had to put on the list just for concept, I feel like, just because it was a really interesting concept with this one, again, where they're basically just making a very super simple kit. And you can tell that by the price tag as well. It's only 800 yen MSRP for this one, so it's very, very cheap. And it's meant to be very much so meant to be just a simple, super simple base for customization, whatever else you might want to do with this. So I think it was, again, something that was very concept driven, and it was quite successful in that. And then we would see in later series similar kind of designs to come out as well. Even I would go so far as to say, inspiring certain releases like some of the 30 minutes missions releases even as well, just being kind of the concept of, a super simple design that's just made for high customization. So that's it for my top 10, but a couple of other designs here that I just want to mention sort of as like honorable mentions. Some of the other designs that I really liked from the series. The Double Zeta 2 was a really great one, super cool design there. The Gyansalot, again based off of the Gyan Revive, which is a fantastic kit, and this one having some cool new parts on that. Also that Xeon emblem spear, super cool, love that. The Gundam Leopard Da Vinci, very similar to the Amazing Red Warrior in it being just a super like simple, streamlined base Gundam design with a ton of weapon options on it. I love that. The Jim Cardigan, one of the first ones to come out in the Build Fighters Try line that I think probably also sold really, really well. A lot of people love the Jim Cardigan based off of the HG Powered Jim there. Again, a lot of different weapon options and just the options of having like the arm system, mechanical arm system for the shields and stuff on there. Was very fun. Also, we have the Dom R35, really cool variant of the Dom. The 00 Shia Quanta was another one that I enjoyed quite a lot, being based off of the 00 Quanta. Of course, there, cat ears, you gotta love it. But more importantly, just like the color scheme and the effect parts and everything on that kit was really fun. A lot of fun. Okay, I do also want to mention a few honorable mentions from the different spin-off series that we got. So we had like the Build Fighters Battle Log series, the Jim's Counterattack series, some other different stuff afterwards. And then we had some really great kits from those series as well. So in the next video, we'll talk about some Build Divers releases, but to finish off this video, a few more honorable mentions from the Build other different spin-off series. Here we have the Striker GNX. This one was really, really cool. Based off of the GNX HG kit, which is not really the best kit. It's an older one, and it's not quite as nice as some of the other ones here as far as like the base kit goes. But the Striker GNX has a lot of really cool new parts on there that I think make it kind of hide the fact that it's a little bit more kind of basic kit under the hood. But all the new parts on there make it look really cool. We also have the Amazing Strike Freedom Gundam, one of my favorites from the series. I think does a really amazing job redesigning this. Not a big fan of the beam rifle, but other than that, the Gundam redesign here of the Strike Freedom I thought was very, very cool. Love the fact that it has a metallic red inner frame. It's just something super unique about that. I like that a lot. The Gundam Schwarzritter, another really awesome one here based off of the Denial, but kind of with a new color scheme, which again is very cool with that black color scheme on it, and then with the gold accents and everything. Adding some different weapon gimmicks compared with the Denial Gundam. So you have like the big backpack and like swords and everything on this. So a lot of cool new features to that new variant. And then of course, how could we not mention the Jim, one of the best kits to be released in all of Build Fighters, Build Fighters Try, Build Divers, everything. The Jim is absolutely fantastic and absolutely needs a reprint. Bandai needs to reprint this kit, and in a big way, so that people can get more of this. It's such an amazing kit for no other reason than it's just a really super fun kit to customize. You know, whether you want to build it up, customize it in, you know, just color scheme or with custom parts or mixing and matching parts. It's a fantastic kit. And then of course, how could we not also mention the Papa Guy? Yeah, the whole Bear Guy San line I feel like is worth mentioning because, you know, there was a lot of different variants that Bandai came out with, and a lot of people enjoyed them, and so I think it was certainly a popular design and fun, interesting, is something different. But yeah, there was that. Another big fail for the line that I want to put in here right at the very end too, I would say, is the female character kits were just not good. Bandai just really couldn't quite get the female character HG kits down for this series. Unfortunately, they were pretty awful. But fortunately, in Build Divers, we had the Figure Eyes Diver Nami, which was absolutely fantastic. So Bandai did kind of figure it out eventually and release that as part of the Figure Eyes line, which I think was the way to go, because I believe that Bandai has different teams for the HG kits and the Figure Eyes kits, and the Figure Eyes team just did a much better job with that. So that's it for my video, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Where do you agree or disagree? What were some other of your favorites? Like I said, there was a lot of really great kits to choose from. I talked about like 15, 16 of the kits from the Build Fighters Try series, and like I said, there's about 40 of them, so there was still a good amount that we didn't talk about, but a lot of really fun kits in there, and that's also including some really interesting SD kits that came out in the line as well. Again, I'm not super into those myself personally, but I know that there was some cool ones like the Kunai Gundam, the Winning Gundam, so there was some cool ones as far as the SDs from the line go as well. But let me know your thoughts. If you guys want to check out some of these kits, you can check out the link in the video description to Z Gundam store. Some of these have been reprinted recently. Hopefully more of them will be reprinted in the near future from Bandai. But for now, if you guys want to check out all the different Gunpla available at the moment here at Z Gundam store, you can check the link in the video description. And as always, guys, thank you so much for all of your support, liking the video, commenting, subscribing. All helps out a lot. So thank you guys. Till next time, have a great day.